What is up, fellow roaders? I'm Joshua Thomas, and we're here for another top 5 board games that you should be playing. Now, I want to say this is going to be my top 5, and your top 5 could differ from what I have to say. You know, I've definitely not played all the games out there, so be sure and give me your top 5 in today's category. And today's category is micro games that you can play on top of a cooler. And to be specific, I'm talking about your typical, rectangular cooler that's roughly 15 to 17 inches wide and 25 to 28 inches long. So the reason I'm making this list is because a lot of us who have to travel and who enjoy playing games, we're going to take these micro games with us, these games that don't take up a lot of space, but sometimes we don't always have access to a table, or if we do have access to a table, it's not a big one. So today, we're talking about cooler top games. And we're going to start off with my number 5 pick out of all of these. It's going to be the We Didn't Playtest This at All series. And in front of me, I've got the We Didn't Playtest This Either game, and it comes with its own micro expansions. A very funny game. It is, here are the rules on this little leaflet. And in a game, all you've got to worry about having is your central deck and a place to discard cards, and that's kind of it. Other than that, you really just have to have an area around the table or the cooler for people to lay their cards down, but most cards that get played go directly into the discard pile. So what do I like about this game? Well, it's a party game that can be played by multiple people. The whole gist of the game is, number one, it's just funny. Here, this card is called I Lose. Play this card anytime, even during another player's turn. Any player currently holding a cell phone or futuristic cell phone equivalent loses. That's pretty much how the game goes. Also, you'll notice that this is a star card, and star cards are better than normal cards. So it just literally lets other people know when you have a star card by changing the back of the card. And sometimes, yes, star cards are better than others. Sometimes they're not. But that is, we didn't playtest this at all, and we didn't playtest this either in a nutshell. And as you can see, it doesn't take up a lot of space and comes in a nice small box. Next on our top 5 micro games that can be played on top of a cooler is going to be Crimson Company. You may not have heard of this game, and if not, I wouldn't be surprised. It was kickstarted successfully, and since then has also had a couple of expansions made for it as well, and the expansions don't take up a lot of room either. Not only that, you can take the expansions out of this box and put them in this one if you need to. So Crimson Company barely makes this list because I can kind of barely fit it on a cooler top. Like I was saying, this can get pretty wide here, and you might have to squeeze everything onto the table because the cards can go in both directions pretty far. So if you work it just right, yeah, it will fit onto a cooler. You might have to kind of overlap some cards in order to make it work. But Crimson Company is all about hiring mercenaries using the coins that you have. And each of these mercenaries, number one, no two mercenaries are alike. They all have unique abilities, and they all have a power score that you can see here. They can be flipped over to where they have a power score of 0. And if they're flipped back over using another card's ability, some of them get to use their abilities again, such as this Illusionist. Move one of your opponent's cards to another lane. So I flip her back over, or I play her on this lane, and let's say I want to get rid of this Fortune Teller because she has a power of 4. So I can just scoot her over to another lane where she's of no threat to me. Once you get 4 of your mercenaries in one row, that castle scores, and whoever's got the highest value of mercenaries on their side wins that castle. Whoever can win 2 of the 3 castles in the game is the winner. So that's number 4, Crimson Company. Coming in at number 3 is another one you may not have heard of. It was kickstarted successfully a few years ago by a good friend of the Fell Road, and it is Intel, Hack or Be Hacked. Intel has very nice cooler presence. Anytime I'm playing this game and other people walk by, they instantly stop and say, wow, what is this? And not only does it have good cooler presence, but it's also extremely easy to teach. In fact, I can teach you right now. The Black Hat starts off with their black cubes. They choose anywhere on any of these 7 tiles to place their cube. Let's say I want to place it starting in this green tile. I'm going to put it on the blue. That tells the other person who's playing, the White Hat Hacker, that they can place anywhere in the blue tile. And this continues on until someone takes control of 3 adjacent sectors. The way you take control is by either creating a triangle pattern like this, or 3 in a row like this. Once you've taken control of a sector, you mark it with your little meeple or your control marker, and once again, as long as you get 3 adjoining, doesn't matter how they are, they could be here, there, or even a straight line, that person is the winner. This game is a ton of fun for 2 players. It gets really intense every time I play it. Once either I or the other person have won, they're like, wow, I really enjoyed this. I want to play it again. And not only that, but it gets other people playing it as well. People will even stop and watch while we're playing this and kind of wait for their turn to play. And there's also a single-player expansion, Intel Firewall. Coming in at number 2 on our countdown is a modern-day classic, KuKu. KuKu is a very simple game to learn, and yet it can get so complex because of the player interactions. There's only 5 different cards to remember, and you've got this cheat sheet so that you can, especially for new players, it can kind of help them remember what card is what, and they can easily bluff it. So the cards are the Contessa, who simply cannot be assassinated, the Duke, who takes 3 coins from the treasury and blocks foreign aid, the Assassin, she can pay 3 coins to assassinate another player's card or influencer, the Captain, who steals 2 coins from another player and blocks being stolen from, and the Ambassador, who exchanges cards with the court deck and blocks stealing. So he can exchange cards with the deck in the middle to kind of randomize things, but that's all there is to it. You just use these 5 characters. You have 2 of them, which represent your life, and if somebody catches you in a bluff or is able to guess what character you actually, don't have, then you reveal it and you either lose a life or they lose a life. You also have ways of earning future money, and you use that future money to assassinate or to cause a coup. And you just have to get 7 of these future monies, and you might think, oh, that's not too bad, not too difficult, but there's a reason why the assassin only costs 3. This game is a ton of fun. As you can see here, this is pretty much a setup right here. It's a little sloppy, but it can definitely fit on a cooler, and it can be played in as little as 5 minutes. So you can get several rounds of this game in and see just how intriguing it can get. So once again, that's KuKu. And number 1 on our list of games you can play on a cooler top is Gloomhaven. Yeah, that's a major joke. All right, it's going to be Deep Sea Adventure. And if you can hear some heavy panting, that's because my sick dog is in here who is on medication, which kind of ties into the game a little bit. You see, in Deep Sea Adventure, that we've lovingly nicknamed Drowning Man, you play as a scuba diver who is diving deeper and deeper into the ocean trying to get treasure. The deeper you go, the more valuable the treasure becomes, but you've got to beware because every single diver is sharing the same oxygen supply. And when you start gathering treasure, it weighs you down, it slows you down, it makes you move less, and it also makes you consume more oxygen for every piece of treasure you pick up. So you've got to make the decision of how far down you think you can get, whether you think you're going to be able to beat the others back to the sub and make it back to the sub before your oxygen runs out. Because when it does run out, any treasure you're holding floats all the way to the bottom of the stack, but it then piles up in stacks of 3. And then on the next round, this stack of 3 treasures only counts towards 1 oxygen and a -1 to your dice roll. You play this game for 3 rounds, and whoever gets the highest score with all the treasure that they make it back to the sub with is the winner. This game, in this extremely tiny box, is very portable, definitely fits easily onto a cooler top, and is actually deceptively fun. I honestly didn't think I was going to have that much fun playing this game, and when I set this game up for the first time for new players, they're kind of looking at it, scratching their heads, thinking, am I really going to enjoy this? And then they play it, and they drown for the first time, and all their treasure sinks to the bottom, and they're like, oh, okay, I get to do this again, I get to try this again. I've always had a blast. I've always had a blast playing this game with hardcore gamers and more casual gamers alike. So I have no problem saying that Deep Sea Adventure is going to be my number 1 game that I take with me when I'm on the road and possibly can only play a game on the top of a cooler. So there we go. Those are our top 5 choices, or my top 5 choices. Be sure and let me know what your top 5 choices are for games that you would take with you if all you could do was play them on top of a cooler. If you enjoyed this video, be sure and like and subscribe. It lets us know we're doing the right thing. Up to 98% of our viewers aren't subscribed, and it really helps us out if you just hit that button. Thanks for watching. Be sure and check out more board gaming and video game videos. And until then, check you next time.